Should you build a gaming PC right now or wait? Well, you see, this is one of the most asked questions on our channel right now, and a lot of people still don't know what to do. So in this video, we'll have a look at two maximum value gaming PCs for both 1080p and 1440p for under $1,000 and tell you exactly what you should and shouldn't be doing. Let's start off with the 1440p build and then we'll downgrade to 1080p and save even more money there. I'm going to tell you the reasoning for each component and the do's and don'ts as I go. I'm going to start off with the RAM and, well, here's why. This is either going to be the first or second most expensive component that you will have in your build, and also the reason why I'm even making this video in the first place. Back in the day, I always used to start off with the GPU and CPU combo, but now starting out with the RAM is a much better idea because, in turn, this will tell us what platform we should be focusing on. For absolutely maximum value, you should 100% buy used RAM that is either brand new sealed or in very good working condition. Think of the following scenario. Say you're browsing your local used market, or let's just say eBay in this case. You find an awesome deal on a kit of 32 gigs of DDR5 RAM. Boom, there you go, AM5 build incoming. And the same goes for if you find a very good DDR4 deal. You either are gonna go for AM4 or LGA 1700, but more on that later. I found this kit of 32 gigs of DDR4 3000 CL16 off of eBay for just $150, which is actually pretty good. I just wanted to maximize value here, so I 100% decided to go for AM4 and DDR4, but again, if you find an awesome deal on DDR5, go for AM5 instead. It will end up costing you a bit more, but you will have the added benefits of more upgradability, you know, a more current generation socket, and so on. For the CPU, I found a 5600X with no box for $133, which is a pretty damn good price considering it's brand new. Do not sleep on no box or open box deals from places like Newegg. Also, don't sleep on AliExpress. I know that most people aren't comfortable enough to buy a CPU off of there, but they are legit and you can find some amazing deals from reputable sellers. For the cooler, it's an easy choice. Peerless Assassin, $35, you can't really go wrong with it. You can save even more money here by getting a slightly cheaper CPU cooler, since the 5600X doesn't need a dual tower air cooler, and you know, spending $15 to $20 is going to be more than enough. I just really like this cooler and the value of it, since if you ever want to upgrade to something better, then it'll still be more than enough. For the motherboard, this is a bit more convoluted than it may initially seem. In the end, I went for a Gigabyte B550 Gaming XV2 board, brand new. You either get a brand new one or you save even more money and get one used. But here's the thing though, buying a motherboard used is tough because 95% of the time you really won't be able to test it before buying it. Some people simply aren't experienced enough to take a good look at a board to make sure that it is in good physical condition. I personally also really like having warranty for my motherboard because if it dies for whatever reason, even if you paid like $40 for it used, the headache of getting another one simply because it wasn't a brand new product isn't worth it in my eyes. And most people aren't willing to go through all of that just to save like $30. But you can totally get a used one if you know what you're doing. In the end, this thing costs $90. It's not great, but it's not bad either, and it'll do the job perfectly fine. When it comes to storage, I highly advise against buying used storage for a few reasons. For one, the difference in price, generally speaking, between a used SSD and a brand new one isn't all that big, but this will depend on your luck and what you're able to find in your local used market. SSDs that have a lot of powered on hours and that aren't the highest quality are also not a great idea. At least in my experience, anything that's above 20,000 hours is a no-go, since they usually tend to start failing at around 20 to 25,000 hours. And I don't really think that's very worth it. And lastly, you never know if you're going to find something weird or even malicious on one of those things, or God forbid, illegal. You should be fine as long as you tell the seller to format the drive before selling it, but you never know. Again, if you do know what you're doing, you can still get it used, but I really recommend that you spend a little bit extra and just buy a brand new one instead. I ended up going for the Silicon UD90 1TB Gen 4 SSD, simply because it was one of the most affordable ones that I've tested in the past and has been decent, and well, it costs around $118. If you want to go for something that's a little bit higher quality, I'd suggest you either get a Lexar NQ780 or like a Crucial P310, but you will have to end up spending about $30 to $40 more. For the PSU, honestly, anything that is a C tier or above is going to be more than enough, and since we're in 2026, a minimum of 750 watts at least in my opinion. I went for the $60 Corsair CX750M 2021 edition, C+ tier power supply that will do very well for a build like this without breaking the bank. Always, always, always get a brand new PSU. If you want to get a used one for whatever reason, then that's completely your responsibility. On the off chance that you know somebody who's selling one or are friends with somebody, then sure, you do you. For the case, you can genuinely do whatever you want. You can find some cases for literally dirt cheap on the used market, sometimes even free. But I still went brand new with the Lee & Lee V100R for $75. I swear to God, this case literally feels like a cheat code when it comes to PC building. It has such great quality, a very fun time to build in, great airflow with the 4 pre-included fans, and if you've been watching this channel for a bit, you know how adamant I am about airflow. Well, about good airflow. Seriously, it's massively important for the performance, ease of maintenance, and the longevity of your components, so do not sleep on airflow. Strive to always go for either neutral or positive airflow, never ever go negative, and you'll be fine. Again, you can save as much money as you want here, it's completely up to you, and what you want from your PC when it comes to aesthetics as well. And now for the star of the show, and also sort of the elephant in the room, the GPU. The total for this PC without a GPU is $661, and I really wanted to keep this build under $1,000. Initially, I wanted to try to squeeze in a 9060 XT 16GB. It needs no introduction, great value gaming GPU, current generation, FSR4, and so on. But the cheapest 9060 XT 16GB right now goes for about $440, which would have put the total up to somewhere around $1,100. Even if we were to go for the 8GB version, which would have been an objectively poor choice for 1440p, we would still go over the $1,000 budget since this thing costs like $380. Yeah, prices are terrible. The B580 is also not that bad of a choice here, but it's around $300 and I really wouldn't buy it for that kind of price either. So again, I went to the used market, and for around $320, you can consistently find the following two GPUs: an RX 6800 or an RTX 3080. I went for this RX 6800 for $320, and even though this is 2 generations old at this point and doesn't have the best AI tech out there, this thing will rip through 1440p games with ease. In the past, I've seen crazier deals like a 7800 XT for like $350, but those are very rare, and I wanted to give you guys something consistent to look out for. Obviously, if you manage to find a crazy ass deal, then go for that instead. The 3080 is still a beast of a GPU even to this day, and you can find one for around $340 to $360, but never forget the art of negotiation. These two GPUs go toe-to-toe when it comes to performance. Sadly, a considerable disadvantage of the 3080 is that it only has 10 GB of VRAM, which will prove itself to be a bit of a bottleneck in certain scenarios. And I don't know why people don't believe this, but the 3080 is a faster GPU than the 5060 Ti 16GB every single day. So there you go. Obviously, the 5060 Ti will have plenty more AI features, but just to put this into perspective, you know, this build with the 6800 will run you about $981 and about $1,020 with the 3080 if we take the prices at face value, but I think that using the art of negotiation, like I've said before, would still get you under that $1,000 mark even with the 3080. I also want to talk a little bit about an Intel platform alternative here that would run you about the same, but will come with a few downsides. One of the only CPUs that makes sense here would be the 12400F, which you can find on eBay used for about $120 to $125. The bad part compared to the brand new 5600X is that this CPU is used, so no warranty. The motherboard won't really change in price. You can get a B760 for like $90 brand new. Here's an example with the Asus Prime B760M, so the total price will basically not change if you decide to go down this path instead. And this PC won't just be able to do 1440p, it'll be able to do 4K pretty comfortably as well. And now for a 1080p alternative, it's really simple. All we have to do is just cut out the corners from the 1440p/4K build. And the sky is basically the limit. 6700 XT, 6750 XT, 3060 12GB, 8GB, 3060 Ti, 4060 Ti used. If you can find one at a decent price, it'll all just depend on what you can find and how much you actually want to spend, but that's sort of the ballpark here. If you really want to go brand new and current generation, then the 9060 XT 8GB and 5060 are options, but as we've said before, they're very expensive right now and not really worth it at all. Going from 32 gigs to 16 gigs of RAM is also a thing that you can do, but honestly, I don't really recommend it. 16 gigs of RAM will still be able to play pretty much everything, but there are some games like Marvel Rivals, Rust, and so many others that really just don't like only having 16 gigs of RAM. I do suggest you go for the 32 gigs of RAM unless you truly just cannot afford it. And with all this out of the way though, we still haven't answered the initial question. Should you build something like this right now, or should you wait? You have to weigh your options here and decide for yourself. There is no clear answer. I really wanted to show you how you should go about building a gaming PC if you truly wanted to build one right now, so you would have the necessary context. My take on this is that people simply want to game, simply have a need for gaming. And that wish or need, whatever you want to call it, can still be fulfilled even in an economy like this. I understand wanting to get the most for your money, and you might also not be happy spending $1,000 for a semi-used system on an older platform, but that's just the reality that we're living in right now. You can, for sure, still get a great gaming experience for an affordable price if you follow all of the things that I've said. Sure, it is going to take a little bit of effort, but it will be worth it. Telling people to wait only for like a year to go by without anything changing is not advice that I'd like to give. This is what you can do right now. If you believe that this is going to satisfy your gaming needs as soon as possible, then this is an option. If you aren't satisfied with this and are willing to wait for things to maybe get better or maybe get worse, then that is going to be up to you to decide. Nobody can tell for sure what's going to happen, and if somebody does, they are more than likely lying. There is just too much uncertainty out there with everything that is happening in the AI space and all these different corporations doing their thing to say for sure if you should or shouldn't wait. Another option that you have is getting a pre-built, believe it or not, which is also a thing that I get asked all the time, and I have a very simple answer to this. Back when prices just started rising, there were some awesome deals on pre-builds that were 100% worth getting, because those pre-builds still had the old prices from before all of this RAM thing started happening. Now though, prices are pretty much in line with everything, but there are still some hidden gems out there that you should be looking out for. Usually the corners that companies cut with pre-builds are a low quality motherboard, power supplies, and SSDs. Okay, not a universal rule, but those are most likely to happen. Those can be changed pretty easily, so getting a pre-build and changing these things, you can just get like an awesome pre-build deal and then switching out those components for an even better PC. I still think you would be better off getting an already built PC off of the used market and then doing the same thing if needed. Looking for used kits as well is nice, say something like a good Mobo CPU and RAM combo. That can save you a lot of money. So yeah, wish I could give you magic in a bottle, but that sadly doesn't exist. You either build something like this following those rules, let's say, or you spend 50% more than what you would have spent a year ago on something brand new. You can get a pre-build that's a decent enough price if you can find one, or you wait and hope for the best. In the end, it is ultimately up to you. Let me know down in the comments if you did build a PC during this period, what you ended up going for, and how much you actually spent on it. I'm really curious to know your guys' reasoning. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to have yourselves a very patient and vivid day.